I'm here with author Mary Hettmansperger, and Mary is the author of Mixed Metal Jewelry Workshop, which explains a lot of different mixed metal techniques, and of course I love that look. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
And the necklace that you're going to show us uses a lock and key motif.
Yeah, and of course that's a hardware store sort of item, and I love the components that you can buy that have that look already built in. It's really fun, made into charms and such.
But then you also took a trip to the hardware store.
Well, I did, and we're going to talk a little bit about washers. These are just basic washers that they don't have any kind of connection. I mean, they're completely round.
So you would be doing your own wire wrapping or jump rings or whatever.
Or use these as a connector in between like two jump rings.
Oh, yeah.
So these are really great, but there's also something called lock washers, and lock washers are really, really strong, almost like a jump ring, because they do have a slit in them. And
but they're nice and flat.
They are. They're really great. And the good news about lock washers is they're really strong. The bad news about lock washers,
they're really strong.
Really strong. So consequently, a lot of times when I go in and I start working with these, I will come in and I'll actually close quite a few of them and just leave them closed. They come with a little bit, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I see they're a little bit split.
A little bit split and off even. You want to even them up. And then I usually kind of set those aside. And then I even open some up.
Go through and just open them up.
Exactly. Go ahead and open those up first. And then you can kind of either do...
like here on this bracelet, it looks like you joined some of them with jump rings.
Exactly. So I can make basically a bracelet that I'm going to use as a charm bracelet.
Yeah.
So I can add my materials to them, or I can use them inside of the piece, so they're actually part of the development of the bracelet or the design. And so this piece, you can see I've used the silver lock washers along with the components and the jump rings. And on this one, I used more of this kind of a brass color.
Yeah, I love the way that you're mixing all these metals, and especially these gunmetal components and charms.
Oh,
it really,
fabulous.
Yeah, they really blend well together.
They are.
So
they're really nice.
You could dangle these using some jump rings.
Exactly.
And this would be more of your conventional style, but you could also link some rings together.
You can link them together, exactly. So the easy part, obviously, to open up is with the jump rings.
And always remembering to turn the jump ring to the side.
Exactly, rather than pull it apart. So if you've just connected your lock washers, made them solid, then you're easier to go back in and like on this one, I'll show you how to make a little charm.
Okay.
This little piece here, which is kind of fun, this is actually a toggle.
Oh, yeah.
So this, I mean, I love some of the toggles. I think they're just as pretty as some of the components.
Yeah, you could use them as focals.
And I usually do no less than 3 when I'm making a charm. I tend to like them to dangle off rather than be so tight.
So you're creating some space between the charm and the bracelet itself?
Yeah, and it just gives it more movement.
Yeah.
So I can come in now, and you can attach it to either the jump ring or the jump ring or the
washer,
lock washer, either one. It doesn't matter. And then you can see where you've got a lot more movement there.
Yeah.
And it creates a lot more interest. On some of these little guys that are like this, you might want to mix it up. You may not want to use as many lock washers. You may want to use a mixture of both.
And you're just going to attach that one with a jump ring?
And attach it on there too. And you can make some closer, but I like to leave a little bit of space.
Yeah. Well, what I especially love about this look is the texture. You have so many different textures going on. You have this hammer tone, you have this flat, a round piece. They all work together really well.
It does. And with this particular, the black oxidized look, it just looks so industrial already.
Yes,
so it's really
a great
fun.
look. And on this bracelet, love the way you've incorporated these toggles and charms and link components into the structure of the bracelet itself.
Right. And I still have, if you'll notice, I still have some little danglies hanging out also, because I think it really looks neat to have a little mixture of both rather than just it all linked. And again, we've got our, key here in our...
Your toggle closure has the key at one end and your padlock at the other.
Which is kind of fun.
That is very cool. Okay, well, let's take a look at the necklace one more time. This is a piece that uses your lock and key motif here in the center, and you've also used some lock washers at the top.
Exactly, and just keep in mind, this is actually this one you can see has a pattern. So you can go totally random. You can set it up like you would a regular chain, or you can set it up with a little bit different design. And I've created a pattern using some of those components, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and on your earrings with the key too, you're mixing metals again.
I am, and the little paddle at the end of the a couple of the earrings where I've added just little of some of the washers. That's just wire, and you paddle it flat. You hammer it flat with just a hammer and a bench block, and then that way you've created a little closure or a little place to hold the the washers
kind
on.
of making your own head pin there.
Exactly.
And then it looks like you turn the washers on end, so you have them as a design element.
Yeah, and so they're kind of a whole different look.
Yeah, I love that.
They look more like discs.
Yeah, and on the bracelet that you have there at the front, it looks like you just use some jump rings to combine the keyholes in a chain.
Exactly.
And that's another great idea, that you could create the structure of the bracelet using a linking component like that.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, and the other thing here on this one, way over here, if you'll notice, that top is actually a toggle. That's one of the toggles. Yeah, it's one of the toggles I didn't use over here, so I actually use one of the toggles, and I like the way.
So this piece right here is the toggle bar.
It's the toggle bar.
And so you put the ear wire at the top, and then you linked your own head pin here with some more washers on it.
Because I had extra toggles left, or toggle bars left over.
Well, we always do when we're using them as charms like this, right?
Exactly.
All right, well, this is some really great hardware store inspiration, and both in the design motif and the construction, and of course you're using all of your industrial tools here, so this is a perfect topic for today.